Hello, everyone, and welcome. We know that you, our customers, are incredibly busy people, which is why we're calling this a micro-learning session. We're committed to providing you as much value and learning as possible in 30 minutes or less. So with that in mind, here we go. My name is Brock Fawcett, and I'm the Customer Marketing Manager here at Vasion, the visionary company that makes technologies like PrinterLogic technologies possible. I'm excited to be your moderator today in the first episode of our Health Tech Health Check series. As the title suggests, we have geared this series towards those in the healthcare sector, but even if you're joining from another industry or profession, whether you're a customer, a prospect, or a partner, we trust that you're going to find value in today's session. Today, we'll be covering just a few ways you can optimize your PrinterLogic investment with out-of-the-box features that some of you may not even know exist. This is not an exhaustive list by a far stretch, so feel free to ask questions in the chat box, and we'll try to cover as many as possible after our presentation. Now, as I mentioned, this is episode 1 of the series, so before we begin, let's quickly display some QR codes for upcoming episodes. Be sure to register for these as well. And don't worry, if you don't have your phone on hand to scan the codes, we'll definitely send you a follow-up email with registration links and a recording for today's session. But just to quickly summarize, our next episode will be in July, where we'll be diving deep into some of PrinterLogic's advanced security features, followed by an episode in August, where we'll cover output management. And then we'll have our final episode of the series in September, where we will broadcast live from Vasion's Executive Briefing Center to show you some pretty amazing Vasion technologies that will enable you to make cross-functional orchestrated automations a reality of your organization. Now, let me hand it over to our real PrinterLogic experts, Gabby Luna, who drives customer success for enterprise healthcare, and Nicole Harrop, who supports those of you in commercial healthcare. Nicole and Gabby, take it away.
All right, thank you, Brock. We're very excited to speak with you guys today. Our goals for today are really to help you make the most out of your PrinterLogic product. As many of you come to us with your bigger issues, we wanted to also talk to you about some of the things that we can do to make proactive changes and give you a better experience. So the first thing on the agenda today would be to improve end user experience and try to lower some of those tickets and just make it very easy for them to use the product. Service alerts is up next to help us be proactive in the way that we are addressing problems that may happen in the environment, and then reports to really just dive into what is happening in your environment, and then also how to use that to make decisions in the future. And lastly, we do want to leave you with a few things to help you understand, what your customer success team can do for you. Nicole and I are committed to making sure that you get the right tips, tricks, and solutions for your environment. So whether or not we cover that today, we do want to make sure that you leave with at least our contact information to get more out of the product. All right, Nicole, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Yeah, we are excited to be here with you today and really support you ongoing. So this is a great introduction to some of these different features that we're going to talk to today. So we're going to show you how you can improve your end user's experience by looking at things visually. And many times the tickets that have come to us have happened because users don't exactly know where to find a printer, or they may need some help installing a printer. Sometimes customers come to us trying to increase efficiencies, simply to have less tickets on their hands by reducing infrastructure. And most of us have started with the goal of simply getting rid of those print servers. So for us today, we're going to focus in on how we can go beyond that. And if you've already set up your system, you may already be experiencing the benefit of not having to have your users create a ticket every time they want to add a new printer. But there are different nuances where some of us maybe only use mobile, or maybe they're going from one location to the other. So it's helpful for you to set up a map so that users know exactly where they are compared to that printer that they're looking to install. And we're going to go over how you can set up a map to help your end users quickly get to where they need and get printing right away. So Gabby is going to go ahead and demonstrate what this looks like.
All right, so today we are going to be heading over to our admin console. So this may look similar to what you have in your environment today. You'll notice we have a Happy Hospital group here. We'll have different locations available to us, but we're going to be starting off today in Utah. So when we select our location, you'll have a couple of different tabs here. We're actually going to be headed over to our fourth tab, which is the Maps tab. Now, if you have not already taken advantage of this, you can use a CAD document, image. You can also just upload an image that you have that's a basic floor plan. And when you come to the Maps tab, you'll have the option to upload an image here. So you can either do that at the top here on the right, or you can do it right in the center where it says upload an image. You'll have the option to choose that file. When you have that hospital plan like I do here, you can just simply select it, open it up, and then upload the image. Now, as we upload the image, you'll notice that here on the left, we have all of those printers that we have already set up in our location. This is simply to make it easier for users as they get to your portal to be able to designate exactly which printer makes the most sense for them to install. Now, if it is a black and white printer, you'll notice that the page will be all white, and you can set that up anywhere on the map that makes sense. The color printers will have a few different colors in the page, so you'll be able to designate those and set them where they need to be. And so once you've selected all the printers and the locations where they should be, you'll be able to save that here at the top right. And then those images and those printers will now be saved in those locations for anyone to be able to locate as they get to those new locations. And you can apply this to any location that you have. So here in Nevada, we'll see a different location for our printer and a different map. So you can use this in any of your locations. You can set one up per location, and you'll have those different printers available to you on the left if they're not already assigned. All right, so with that in mind, I'll go ahead and also give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of what happens when we have those on there. So not only do we want to put those maps onto our system, but we want to make it so those maps are really accessible to our end users. Our goal is for you to have even less tickets than you do today. So if you can, we want you to make it easier for them, anyone in your locations, to get to where they need to and install those printers. So very quickly, I'm going to head right back over and show you guys what that looks like for the end user. Now, as an admin, you always have access to getting to that portal by simply going to Tools and PrinterLogic Portal, and that will give you the same experience that your end users have. So when your end users get to your Happy Hospital group, you'll be able to select now the Utah location, and that same map that we've put on here is now available to us. We're able to quickly install a printer. If this printer is the one that's closest to us, that's the one that we can install. We wouldn't have to wait on anyone. We wouldn't have to go and open a ticket for that to be installed. It would simply go right onto our device, and we'd be able to start printing. So it gives us that experience of being independent and helping your end users really get the most out of being able to see things visually here when we add those floor plans. Now, we've gone over how you can be proactive as an end user. We also wanted to cover today how you can be proactive as an admin. And so we're going to go ahead and go back over to Nicole to talk about those service alerts and how they can help us out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gabby. That's so helpful. I know many of my customers I've walked through and they didn't know exactly where that would be in such an easy access for them. So that is going to help continue to reduce those tickets for you. That self-service portal is amazing. And just like Gabby said, we want to help your end users be more sufficient, and also on your side as well with those service alerts, helping you to be able to get the information that you need if something isn't working properly. Now, this is something we would love for you to try out on your end as well. Maybe you have something already in place, but we'd love to see if this could be sufficient as well as something that you can use instead of maybe something you currently have. Excuse me. So you may have service agreements with your vendors, making sure that your different models are taken care of, maybe that they're serviced regularly. And there's times where you have some situations where you have some older models, or maybe you have a lapse in those service agreements where you need to know when your printers aren't working. So in those cases, we want to make sure that we're also available to send those emails, those alerts to the right teams and the right locations to get back and working as quickly as possible. So next, we're going to be going over how some of those service alerts can help you get the right notification to the right people and avoid some of that duplicate work of everyone going to the service alert if something is happening. Gabby, do you mind walking through what that looks like as well?
No, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so for service alerts, we're going to head right back over to our admin console, and we are going to be here again in our Happy Hospital group. Now, I want you guys to know that this is actually very customizable. If you guys wanted to have a service alert for an individual printer, you could do that, like Nicole mentioned. If you are maybe thinking of not including some older printers in your service agreement with your providers, or if you just want to be able to quickly get to the problem, maybe you have a designated team for a certain location. This can be done by location. It could be done at a global scale, like we're going to do today. Which to do, we actually come here to the third tab here in our options. And here we can add in alerts. Now you'll notice that it does give us a little disclaimer that tells us that SNMP monitoring must be enabled in order for this to happen. And this is because this is how we are checking your device to see if it is either in a current state of working or if it requires some attention. So that would be something that we would just want you to keep in mind. And at the end of this, I will show you what that looks like to set that up. But for today, if we just wanted to add an alert, I'm going to go over what different triggers you can choose to do that. So first of all, we'd want to just name this something as simple as toner, just so that way we get alerts whenever there's something going on with those types of changes. So triggers, again, can be anything from whether it's not reachable. So when we're monitoring, we're unable to get it. We're also able to do service requested, any overdue preventative maintenance. We can do any triggers on low paper or no paper. Again, with the toner, it could be either for low toner or no toner. We can do if there is a tray missing, if there's supply missing, if the output is near full or it is full. And then also if there is an input tray that is missing, jammed, if the door is open. So we can do quite a few different triggers if you are, again, looking for a way for the right people to be notified in different areas. If you have a designated team, it could be everyone here in this list below. But if you maybe, Bryce is in charge of our low toner orders or toner orders in general, then we can actually add him on. And now by having selected who should receive this and what our triggers are, we can click OK, and now that trigger will be available to us. So anytime that our monitoring detects that there is low toner or no toner, they will send an alert to that group or that person. So in this case, this is a very easy way for you to supplement if you do have a lapse in your service agreement, or if you just need to be monitoring one or two devices that have maybe had some issues, we're able to quickly let you know if those things are happening. Now, coming back to the SNMP email tool set that you have to enable, then to get to that, you will want to go to your tools, settings, and general. Now we'll scroll down about a page down and you'll see that it now tells us SNMP settings. For this is recommended that you work with a service client because then we can have a single place to monitor, and that can be either on a server or a workstation. We won't go too deep into that. We will give you an overview of that if you'd like in the future. But one thing to make sure of is once you do have that on, you'll scroll to the bottom of those options and have the SNMP alerts enabled for those email alerts. This is how we're going to have access to send you those emails for those triggers that you set up. So with those things in mind, we definitely want you to not only be proactive in getting those tickets from those different devices quickly taken care of, but also we want you to know what's going on in your whole environment. So I'm going to pass it back to Nicole so that she can help you guys learn about what happens in our reporting.
Thanks so much, Gabby. Yeah, setting up alerts can be so helpful, and it's easy to change as your needs change. We also want to make sure that we're assisting you in making the best choices for your print fleet. So for us, that has a lot to do with exactly what Gabby just mentioned, taking that reporting into account. We want to make sure that reporting helps drive the right decisions at the right time. You'll notice us, continuously saying that. I want to make sure that you're getting that information that you need exactly when you need it. So for many of us, we look at reports to know what has happened, but we can also use that to drive our future decision making to help us make better choices. And the way that we want to help with reporting is to give that to you on demand. And as you look at what's happening in your environment, you're going to be able to look at usage by printer record types, users, job title managers, departments, folders, and even scanning. So if any of these are useful to you, helpful for you to see what is happening in your environment, you can now look at those in different time periods. We do allow you to use standard time periods as well as custom periods. So if you just need to know what happened maybe in a certain 24 hours or even hour by hour, you can look back at a specific printer and get a report for just that as well. Now, we also want to make sure that this is even easier on you. So, as you're looking at these reports, maybe you want to know which location is printing the most, or you want to be able to see which locations are no longer using printers as you start to make decisions, maybe on how you want to consolidate as you're acquiring or you're divesting different models of your printers. You're going to have that information available at your fingertips. We also recommend that you regularly check to see if there are any printers that are not in use. This is helpful for when you're going to look at your license count in regards to your renewals and just make sure that things are being used efficiently. If you don't have printers that are being used, we want to help you remove that and really get the most efficient use out of the printers that are being used. So for that, we have scheduled reporting. And once you've built a report in our system, you can have it scheduled to be daily, weekly, monthly, or even annually. So that way you can know what's going on and that it's going to be delivered right to your inbox so that you have that available to review. We do have a few different formats available for that. So that way you can easily view it on your phone, or if you want to be able to easily manipulate that information, we also have it available as a CSV. Our goal here really is to create value for you, make it easy, make it simple. We want you to be able to quickly see that information in your environment, what's happening in your print fleet, and also to be able to diagnose this for those future decisions. If there is space for you to be consolidating printers because maybe you have people coming back from a hybrid situation or maybe not everyone needs a personal printer, sometimes it makes sense to look at those print jobs that are happening, and then you can consolidate that into a single multifunction device. Now, to give you a better idea of what that reporting looks like, because I just went over a whole lot of information, Gabby's going to go ahead and step right back into the admin portal to show you that reporting and scheduling feature.
All right, thanks, guys. We are going to be heading right back to our reporting and scheduling. So in the admin console, this is something that you may have heard us go over in our quarterly business review quite a few times. It's our goal to be exactly as many licenses as you need and not necessarily more. So to do that, to help you find the best decisions on that, we want to go to our reports tab here on the top right. And I like to start with the print job records because here is where you really see all of the available printing. Reports. So for that, you can do everything that's happening. So you can look at it as an all-encompassing report. You can have a summary, so you're not looking at the details, but you see what's happening per printer. You can look at it, like Nicole mentioned, by hour, by week. You can also look at it by, whether they're printing single-sided, double-sided, if you are looking at black and white, color, if you're looking at paper size, so if you have different printing happening. And again, like I mentioned in the past, our goal is to make this something that you can use for the future. So anything that you want to do here comparatively, you can also do side-by-side comparisons of different locations. Now, one thing that I really like to start off with is the printers, because that really gives you the most information on what's happening in your environment. Now, we do start off by giving you the opportunity to make this as wide of a net as you'd like it to be. So if you wanted to go back a month and see how you've been printing for the last month, you can do that. Another thing that's really useful here is that you can include or exclude things like printers that are directly connected to a computer. If they're not ones that are used on the network all the time, but just something that's connected directly to a single workstation, you can exclude those if they're not something you want to keep track of. When you run the report, it will give you the name of all of the printers that you have. It'll give you a summary at the top of black and white versus color. you do have the opportunity here to look at any details that you've added. So if you've added in the serial numbers, if you have costs in here for black and white and color, you can see all of those as well. Now, what's nice about this is that we can sort this in descending order. So as Nicole mentioned, if you are doing this report in order to see what does activity look like, is there a place where we're not really using printers as much? Do we have a space to consolidate and perhaps remove some of these licenses that we no longer need? This is really great as you are, like Nicole mentioned, acquiring a new location, or it's time for you to divest. This is a great place for you to look at and see where can we make the best decisions. Now, once you have this report, you can also use this as the base for your scheduled reports. That's really nice if you say, hey, this is giving me the information I need. I've adjusted this to show me what I want. What I now am going to do is just hit scheduled report, and I can now take the same report and say, this is going to be my annual report for, Happy Hospitals group. And I can put in here anyone who should receive this. And this can come in multiple formats. So if you are, like Nicole mentioned, just wanting to look at this as a place to review anywhere that you go, a PDF is great. If you are looking at this to maybe say, hey, you know what, I want to be able to see if I consolidate a few printers, what does that print job look like? What is that opportunity for me to consolidate, maybe justify that? I'm going to be able to combine those with the CSV. Now, additionally, because these reports can be either all-encompassing or they can be very granular, we can name the printer here if we are doing a single printer in the report. So that way we can keep this separate and we know which one's coming through as we schedule multiple reports. Now, additionally, I don't recommend daily for this type of thing, but you can always do that weekly, monthly, and annually. My personal preference is monthly, but that is just because inboxes can get busy. And then if this report that you just ran is useful to you today, you can always check this box to run that same report right now. And so you'll receive that in your inbox. Your inbox will always include this report name. So I always make the most out of that to make sure that you know exactly what report you're receiving. So once you filled out who should receive this information, like the name of it and how often you'd like it to come through, then you can go ahead and hit schedule report. And that report will now be delivered to you, or if you have not scheduled the one that you ran today, you'll receive it as often as you have selected. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that those reports can be edited, can be changed by simply going to our scheduled reports tab. You'll see anything that you've scheduled here and in what format you've scheduled it, the frequency that you've scheduled it for. And if you need to edit this, or if you no longer need it, you can always delete it. And if you need to make changes, or just want to see what is within that report, you can always look at the details. So you'll have a few different options here. Again, you're able to make this as big or as small as you need. And then as you guys go through this, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those into the Q&A box. All right, so we've gone through how we can help you either be proactive with avoiding tickets with that visual mapping. We've gone through how we can try to be proactive with you when things do happen to solve them quickly. And then we've gone over how we want to help you in the future to make the right choices, whether you're refreshing your fleet, you're making changes to your business, or you're just wanting to see what's happening within a certain area. That's what scheduling and reporting is really here to help you with. Now, we mentioned at the beginning, this is not an exhaustive list, but it is something we want to help you with. So if there is anything that you guys have a question on, or you'd like to go ahead and mention to us, I'm going to go ahead and bring Brock back so that we can get into our Q&A.
Brock is back. And yes, we do have some questions. Before we fully dive into the Q&A segment, though, I do want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to review PrinterLogic. If you haven't already, please consider reviewing us on Capterra, G2, and TrustRadius. Your honest feedback not only shapes how Ovation products like PrinterLogic evolve and improve, it also provides guidance to your peers across the IT profession who need assurance they're making the best automation technology choices for the organization. So if you could review us, that would be great. I have to mention that. So yeah, we do have a few questions here, and I'll start with a fairly easy one that both of you can jump in on. And that is there a place where we can find articles about these features?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. Thanks, Brock.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really great. Right in your admin console, in the top right section, there is the drop down for the support and training. There are several different options within that. You can create a ticket if you need some additional help, but we have been highly regarded for our knowledge base and our knowledge articles, our help center, with all the information that is shared in there with the different walkthroughs, tutorials, and videos. So we would love for you to check that out for anything that you need. And of course, the customer success managers like Gabby and myself are always happy to be an extra person to reach out to make sure that you are taken care of.
Thank you for that. Here's another great question. Does the updated version of PrinterLogic provide reporting for user and departments to use a list of project codes for billing? So for example, a user or a department total number of output, so to charge and bill the user department.
So I can take that one.
Okay.
That is going to be something that we would want to look at with you, because what we would need to know in order to answer that correctly is, are you, that may be something that has to do with like the way that you are coding it. And there are some cases where we can use, we can input our own custom fields, and we could do that for you. And we do have a space for costs as well. Depending on how granular you want to get, we may have to involve another feature, but there should be a way for you to get that information.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, a huge part of this whole project, this series, is that we are creating those communication lines or reinforcing that our customer success managers are a constant resource for you. So as part of that, you can expect a follow-up from your customer success manager about these questions as well. So here's another one. Well, someone asked a question about SNMP, but you've covered that. Okay, here's one. We have one here, question here regarding the alerts demonstration. If there's a paper jam, is there a way to divert a print job to another printer and alert the end user?
Yeah, great question. That way we can, one of the things we're working on is how to, again, be smarter in that automation in regards to diverting a print job, for example, or rerouting. So in one of those upcoming sessions that Brock had mentioned, we'll be talking about output management. And that's where it can recognize that there is a jam and redirect it and notify that end user. We also have something referenced as pull printing, so that a job is not released, a print job is not released until the user is actually at that particular end device. This again helps from abandoned print jobs, and of course making sure that PHI is of utmost importance so that we don't have those abandoned print jobs. But those are things that are in addition to your core license. And again, Gabby or myself or your customer success manager are happy to dive deeper into those to make sure that you have exactly what you need.
Great, yeah, and that's a great segue to remind you that we do have, as Nicole mentioned, we have a session coming up on our advanced security features next month. August, we'll talk about output management, and then in September, we'll dive deeper into the broader Vasion product suite. That's pretty much all the time we have now. We want to respect your time. We promised you 30 minutes or less, and we're closing in on that. So if we didn't get to your question today, please don't worry. As I've said, if you're a customer, you can expect an email from your respective customer success manager. And if you're a prospective customer or a partner, we'll be sure to get in contact with you as well if we have your email available. And as I said earlier, we'll be sending a follow-up email with the recording and registration links to the next microlearning sessions in July, August, and September. Before we sign off, any closing thoughts or words from you, Nicole or Gabby?
We just appreciate your time. We're excited to build up your ROI and your product that you currently have and what you could be using. So we're excited to continue these.
Absolutely. Exactly what Gabby said. We're happy to be here as an additional support and look forward to more conversations with you all.
Yeah, and given that this is a microlearning session, I want to reinforce that this is just the tip of the iceberg. So be in constant communication with your customer success manager to learn more about the great things that PrinterLogic can do for you. And with that, I will say ciao. Thank you so much for joining us.